I'll make sure we keep the video of your nice ab shot there.
Please do zoom in on it. And I don't do these crunches for nothing, man. I'm if nothing, I'm not that I do share with the show. Incredibly vain. I mean, who knew?
You can't be a social media, podcast star and not, be working your crunches. That's why I have no future in
it. Keep it up for our one listener who's 85 and tunes in every week to see if there's an ab shot. Welcome again to the Real Deal Landman Show. I'm Drew Hopkins. That's Jerris Johnson. Sitting next to me today, we're going to kick right into it. You may notice that I'm on site. And first and foremost, that's because I'm very committed to this whole bit. And wherever I need to travel, Drew Hopkins is going to get in the car and he's going to go for it. Now, Jerris is at his home studio in Colorado Springs, as one might imagine. But whenever I heard that we could get the special guest that we have today, I immediately was like, yes, I'm getting in the old jalopy, throwing all the lights, cameras, the microphones just in the back and just racing over to Tulsa, Oklahoma, so that we could talk to Command Energy's one and only Hamel Reinmiller. So sitting next to me today, I've got Mr. Hamel Reinmiller, and where are we, Hamel?
We're at the Summit Club in my building, or the building our office is in. And
that was a little braggadocious.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. It's not my building.
This is the building.
The building we office in. That's right.
But the Summit Club here,
yes.
This is kind of a staple of downtown Tulsa. It's been a staple of the oil and gas industry, I'd say, right?
It has.
Underwent renovations a few years ago, right?
It did. We started off kind of the 60s. I think it started off maybe as the kind of lawyers club in town.
Nice.
Petroleum Club across the street closes down. The clubs kind of merge. Summit evolves. Spent $6.5 million renovating the club a few years ago,
and it's gorgeous.
And it's a lot of personal and private memories here. TAPL meets here. So
nice, very nice.
Home base for TAPL.
How many members would you say the Summit Club has?
We are capped currently at 1,700 members.
Holy cow, that's amazing. Well, it's really a beautiful, number one, I don't think if we want to say Jerris, if we want to say our producer Lonnie, if he was in here setting up the cameras, he would have probably done a lot better job of getting this fantastic Tulsa skyline out, but it was just me today. So what you're seeing is we are in just one of the nice little meeting rooms here at the Summit Club, and we wanted to be able to sit down, take the time, get to know Hamel, but I feel like in the oil and gas industry, I mean, Jerris, would you agree? Hamel's kind of a staple of energy. Always see him at NAPE, always see him at just about every industry event.
Oh, yeah, I would agree. We've had a lot of great people on here. And when I go through and I do the edit and I'm doing the final production, I always have to come up with the title of what the episode is going to be. And sometimes I have to think about like what that's going to be. This one is a dead giveaway. I mean, this one will be called the Tulsa King. Right? Like, what else are we going to call it?
I love it.
Oh my God.
Well, like whenever I first met Hamel, it was years ago, and it could have been at NAPE, or it could have been over at maybe that mixer that's always in like January before NAPE, like the pre-NAPE deal that's always so huge. Like I had met him, but I didn't remember his name, and whenever I saw his name of Hamel Reinmiller, I mean, the first thing that I thought was, I was like, that would be the best Indiana Jones villain name of all time.
Oh.
Like, I can totally see they're like, oh, Mr. Jones, like, you've got the artifact, but now you will meet Mr. Hamel Reinmiller. Like, that feels like, and I mean, granted, Harrison's pretty old, but we might be able to set up another run. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think?
Is he going to be on the Landman show or something? Or am I confusing that with something else?
I think you're probably confusing that with somebody
I think
else.
You're conflating with Yellowstone. Yeah.
That's all right. I don't watch either one of them, so that's totally fine.
We did. So, and that's one of the things that I always kick back to of whenever we started this show, and it was so deep in the weeds of the Landman show. Did you watch the Landman show?
I did.
Okay, what do you think of it? What's your run?
I mean, gosh, there's a lot. There's some to love, and there's some to. It's a little outrageous. And it's certainly raised the profile for the industry.
Absolutely.
Certainly get a lot of people asking, how many drug cartels we negotiate with, and how many private planes of ours have been hijacked, and all that. What you guys aren't. You're gonna go shut a well in, and I don't keep a pipe wrench in my SUV.
We all need to now. Well, let me tell you, that made me start putting a pipe wrench in the back of mine.
Right.
It's
overall good.
Overall good, and I completely agree of the exposure for the industry. We've talked about that a lot on here. I think we had talked to somebody saying AAPL saw like a huge boost on their website, a huge boost of people that were applying to be landmen. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And seeing it NAPE this year, seeing so many people I think was it AAPL itself that was running with the landman or the hats.
Well, and they had the cardboard cutouts.
The cardboard cutouts.
Yeah,
which everybody was taking selfies with. Yeah.
If I knew one lick about marketing, we would have been on top of that beforehand. But I mean, obviously, this is exposed. This is Swiss cheese in my job quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I will say, hey, before we do anything else, like whether Jerris watches it ever again or not, I did see that they're wrapping production right now. They did some filming in, I think, Jacksboro and in Durant, Oklahoma. They were doing it at the
Durant. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's get that right.
Do not insult the memory of Gary England by saying Durant. It is Durant.
Durant.
Yeah.
All right. If I can be so bold and go back and say Durant, Oklahoma, did see considerable shooting that went on there, it sounds like. And as recently as I think this Tuesday of this week, I'm losing track of the days. We're on Thursday now when we're filming this, but on Tuesday they said the new season 2, holy cow, going to drop in November.
Love it.
So we should be seeing some previews soon, and I will just ecstatically be texting Jerris at 11 o'clock at night, and he'll be putting me on mute of me talking about how Sam Elliott's going to be on it. Billy Bob Thornton is wearing some different, even tighter jeans this year. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on.
He's great. I mean,
he's fantastic.
He's really great. And there's no, like, you can't make, they've not just glorified the profession, I think, and made it very relevant. There's not a lot of time we can spend, staring at decks and spreadsheets, and that would quite move the Hollywood needle probably. But I mean, I think they've done a great job of representing, generally what goes on. And there's some specific, I don't want to call them rants, specific diatribes, Billy Bob Thornton diatribes that are just epic truth.
Oh,
I mean,
they are
glorious.
they are, and I think we've seen those. That was like the biggest kick up on like my LinkedIn feed of every time he would have one of those rants. The next day, you'd see 40 different people just posting this and being like, "This is what I've been saying for the last 20 years." Right. No, for sure. It's exciting to see that is coming back, and that will breathe a breath of fresh air into this show to where Drew and Jerris can give full rundowns weekly of each one of those, which we kind of gave up on by the end of it because we were having so much fun with the guests that we had. So we'll see how it goes back.
I would much rather spend more time talking with and about the real people than the fake people. And our real people have better stories and better interactions, and I have personally really enjoyed the direction that this whole production has taken, especially since the TV show has ended, because we're able to truly focus on those individuals and get the most out of them, and hopefully our listener, hopefully he or she likes it as well.
That's exactly right. And to our one listener, keep smashing that like and subscribe. That's what's funding Jerris's second half of life. So please, I mean, for his sake. But while we're talking about kind of the cartels and everything, I mean, it would be an absolute waste not to get into Hamel's past and to be able to find out how many different cartels he has had to battle along his way. But let's go back and let's talk a little bit about your history and give kind of the listeners today who are familiar with you, who aren't familiar with you. We're going to find out more about you. Where'd you grow up, first off? And like, just kind of give us the background. What'd your parents do?
Sure.
Where'd you start out?
Yeah. So I grew up in Dallas. I was actually somewhat little known fact. I was born in Indianapolis. My parents were both second generation, second and third generation Oklahomans. Met and married at OU. Dad went to work for IBM. Spent 23 years with IBM. And so they went to New York, to Indianapolis, and I was born there. Spent the first 6 months of my life in Indianapolis, and then went back once a year, pretty much every year, in May for the 500. So that's a piece of our family history that not a ton of people know, but basically grew up in Dallas. Had Park Cities area. Went to Armstrong Elementary, McCullough Middle School in the Park Cities in Dallas, and then we moved out my freshman year in high school to South Lake Carroll, and IBM had moved their complex out there. Played a little football in South Lake, and we had some great teams, some great teammates. We didn't never lost on varsity. Went
Nice.
2-0, 2 state championships.
Holy cow!
I had this really impressive view after that of my athletic prowess, which
Right.
was so wrong. I had grown up sooner, always wanted to play in Norman, and they had sent me a kind of preferred walk-on recruiting deal, and came up to Norman and realized about 30 seconds in that was never going to happen. And so ended up some variations there of exploring Texas A&M and Tech and Texas and other schools that I had friends going to. Ended up, my cousin's husband now lives in Mobile, and was a fighter pilot. And he wanted to show me the Virginia Military Institute. So I ended up at the Virginia Military Institute in Lexington, Virginia, which is about 45 minutes north of Roanoke, Virginia,
Okay.
2.5 south of Richmond, D.C., and right in the heart of the Shenandoah Valley, right? And I went up there with him, and you were walking through history. I mean,
Absolutely.
all the battlefields, all the, our old barracks at VMI still has Union cannonballs in the exterior walls. It's a National Historic Landmark. So anyway, I went to VMI, so that was graduated from South Lake in '94. Went to VMI that summer, and was an Air Force cadet, wanted to fly, and really was on a commission track to go into the Air Force throughout my cadetship. And then summer before my senior year, first class year, we got back to post for Cadre Week, and Colonel Moyer was the Air Force detachment commander at the time, and had a message on my desk to report to his office. So cleaned up, showered up, shaved, get down there. Cadet Reinmiller, reporting is ordered, sir. He said, son, I promised you a flight slot and I can't give it to you. Ooh. So had kind of it would end up being the Clinton administration had decreased all the height maximums and increased all the height minimums.
No kidding.
Couldn't fly. So I ended up graduating a civilian, which a portion of the Corps at VMI does. It's ebbed and flowed, 60-40% commissioning probably over the years. But anyway, went back to Dallas and kind of had a decompression summer where I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Dad had given me I think I had about 60 more days before it was figured out.
And then you're gone.
Yeah. So anyway, I got a call from a young man that every firstclassman at VMI is assigned to freshmen. We call them rats.
Sure.
So
very affectionately,
right?
Affectionately,
yeah, absolutely. One of my roommates' rats. I had helped him a lot. He had a challenging first year, and I'd spent a lot of time with him, kind of guiding him through the process of the rat line and some of those physical, mental, and emotional challenges. Anyway, he called, and he just called really to say thank you. And he said, so what are you going to do? And I said, well, I don't know. He said, well, what do you think about oil and gas? It just stopped me in my tracks. I was like, I'm a Texas boy. I'm a fan, but I hadn't really thought about it. And he said, well, why don't you come up here? And turns out he was the land manager at then Equitable, now EQT. He did an incredible thing that has paved the way for my whole career, really. I mean, he took me on a probably a 6-hour rolling conversation with every department head at the production headquarters in Charleston, West Virginia. And took me to a very professional lunch after that at Hooters. And
the nicest table there too.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely,
sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
He called that in.
Yeah, I'm convinced he wanted to know if I was comfortable in talking in different settings, right? But anyway, he said basically, I want to offer you a contract job in the smallest town you've ever heard of, and you're not going to like it. It's not going to be fun. It's not a lot of money, but if you do it and do it well and like it, it'll lead to more. That's really all he said. And so I started pulling books in Pike, or actually started in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. One stoplight town, right? Got the Holiday Inn there, and that's the nicest restaurant in town.
Of course,
the only bar in town. That's where all
Did you stay?
We stayed there, lived
Inn?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, the Roughnecks all stayed there. The rig hands, rig crews, everybody was there. And so that was an education in and of itself. And then, the gentleman, he said, my promise to you, though, is I'm going to set you up with my best guy. And I want you to mirror him for as long as it takes for you to decide if you like it and him to decide if he thinks you've got a chance. And so I spent, I don't know, 5-6 months. And all I did was go with him to the courthouse, run, pull books, run title. Would get a typewriter out, that carbon paper,
Totally.
and would set a typewriter up on the hood of his blue Silverado, and type up the lease and go file it. And so it was really just and you were all in, right? Because there was nothing to do. So I would take a long weekend every now and then and go see buddies from VMI at different, Fort Bragg or Richmond or DC or Dallas, whatever, or Roanoke or whatever. But it was I learned so much in that period. And then about 8-9 months later, they had an in-house job, assistant director of the Kentucky program. So Equitable was drilling 100 Devonian shale vertical wells a year in each of 3 regions. So, I mean, they had a prolific need. So eventually I was running a crew in Kentucky of 35 guys probably, and then took a regional title position in Charleston over all 3 states. When I got to Charleston, my office was next door to the legend Lester Zickett. And
Lester.
So Lester, when he left to go back to Oklahoma City, I really wanted to get home. I really want to get back to the Mid-Continent region, and had worked on a Kentucky Oil and Gas Association regulatory committee with the exploration manager from Penn, Virginia. I knew they had Mid-Continent aspirations, and he said, "Come on over here." And 6 months later, they bought Crow Creek Energy that was right over there by Utica Square. Right. And one thing led to another.
That got you back up here.
Moved to Tulsa in 2006. It was kind of so it started off as a 90-day due diligence project. There's a hotel just off camera here. It used to be called the Adams Mark. Now it's a Hyatt. Lived there for 90 days. Every single morning, I told my vice president, if we buy this and you open an office here, I want to move here. And he said, "No, shut up, leave me alone, lose my number, stop calling. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it." On the 87th day, he said, "Were you serious? I think we're going to do this. And I'd like for you to open the office in Tulsa." And I was like, you're really stupid. I should have been looking for a house. I have not done anything. So he said, "You got 10 days, get back to," they were in Kingsport, Tennessee. And, the office that I was at least, they were Radnor, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Based.
Right.
Headquarters. But, the office I was in was in Tennessee. Anyway, so I went back and debriefed and moved here immediately thereafter. It was kind of a daunting project. We had, he basically said, "Okay, we just bought this asset." It was a $80 million acquisition, had 2 rigs running in Southeast Oklahoma. There were coal bed methane projects. So rigs are moving every 8 to 10 days. Yeah. And it was just me. And he was, "You need to find an office space, order some furniture, hire your boss, hire an engineer, hire a geologist, hire a office manager, order some
in
paper."
charge of the whole game.
Yeah. And I was like,
holy cow.
It was a lot. I developed a lot of relationships with the guys, the Crow Creek guys. That was Crow Creek 1. So Maurice Storm, was the CEO, and then David Hoffman and Mike Rollins and Pat Hall management team. That was an NGP backed deal, and great group, and had kind of developed some relationships with them during the due diligence project. Well, I busted it for a year, getting that office up and running and staffed up and able to function. And then they asked me to come over with them. We made a $280, I think, $1 million acquisition of Encore in Fort Worth.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was where I didn't know it at the time, but that's where God first put the plan together for Command Energy. That's really when it started, because the geologists that prospected almost all the active areas, the best areas of what we bought from Encore, they had acquired from Homestake.
Okay.
And Michael Evans had prospected all that when he was at Homestake. So
that's amazing. So we're talking a 8-year stint of out in Tennessee and Kentucky-ish.
Just under 7.
Under 7. Yeah. So you were going out. I always am super interested because I feel like getting to know landowners all across the nation is what we've talked about on here a lot. It's really it takes a certain type of person to be able to go out and make those connections. Did you find, were there any that you were typing up a lease on a car hood that provided some real memorable stories? Or we've had people talk about getting a shotgun blast across the bow, basically. Did you have any very unique deep Kentucky or deep Tennessee or West Virginia that were a little bit learning experiences? I
would say many. I've had an interaction with a gun and a landowner 3 times in my career.
Jerris, could we have like some running total on the bottom of the thing? I think we should have a little like icon, and then every time that somebody mentions I had an interaction with a gun, it should do like a little noise and a click up. I think that's the next iteration.
I do have to ask for Hamel though. Hamel dresses so well.
And
every time I've seen him, he is always in a suit. Case in point today, Drew and I look like a couple of bums. I am trying to represent Tulsa with my t-shirt, but here comes Hamel with his cufflinks and his suit and everything. These 3 times when you had gun interactions, were you wearing a suit in the field?
Sir.
Did that contribute at all? Okay.
No, sir.
Just curious.
No, this is the suit and tie is a late career iteration of being in the when in front. My policy has always been, if you're in front of a judge, a regulatory body, or asking for money, you better be in a coat and tie, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I do a lot of fundraising these days.
And you knew by the end of this, I was going to be asking. You knew there was going to be a money interaction here. Of course, I didn't dress the part for that, as Jerris said. So I know we're already not on equal footing. That is too funny. But so when you're out there, I'm sure these are the first kind of years or first steps and first years of your career. Any that really stand out?
Yeah. So we had the first gun interaction. I was with our construction foreman. We were staking a well. We were on a coal, basically. And we were kind of trying to figure it out before we got the surveyors out there and the meter started running, right? So he and I are trying to get our bearings, and we're just traipsing through this property, and had called numerous times to try to make contact, meet, make arrangements for this. No response.
Right.
So we get out there, and there really wasn't anybody living there, right? And so people lived, we thought, supposedly out of state. And so anyway, we're traipsing through the woods, and all of a sudden we hear a shotgun rack. There's nothing that will stop you in your tracks faster, right?
That's a very unique sound. Yeah, you know what it is.
Indeed.
You definitely know what it is.
So I said, we're with the gas company, and we're going out the way we came. And we turned around and headed for the truck. And about 2 days later, I got a phone call from this guy, and he said, "Heard you out on the property." I said, "Yes, sir. I had left a couple of messages for you." And he goes, "I got your messages." And I said, we're just really want to stake the well. We're just not even sure if it'll fit or work there. And he said, as long as you stay west of the ridge line, and he's, gave me the parameters. And I said, "You got a deal?" It turns out the DEA had an aviation sting going on where they were running over areas in the Appalachian Basin with thermal imagery because they had these canopies over these hollers with
moonshine or
tons of
whatever.
weed,
Yeah,
tons of
weed.
weed.
Okay.
So they ended up there was a handful of busts up there where they had just trucks of weed that they hauled out of there. Anyway, we had, I think,
stumbled fairly close. Yeah.
Very close to it. And so anyway, so that was interaction one. Second one is way more exciting. I go to this old lady's home. She didn't really have a front door. Okay. A lot of dogs, right? Sit in the car, let the dogs kind of work it out. She comes out. She says, come on in. I get out. These dogs, I mean, I feel like I was in a, Cujo operation.
Right.
And so we finally get up on the porch and we're talking. And she says, well, come inside. Let's talk. So the front door is kind of a curtain. Okay. Well, it turns out the back door is kind of a curtain. She said, well, let's sit down here at the table. And there was a rooster on the table. She shoos the rooster out the back curtain. And we sit down at the table and we probably talked for an hour and a half. We had a wonderful conversation, just talking about the industry and what kind of our company had done and people she knew that we had interacted with. Had a really great conversation, went through the lease, went through all the clauses. And I thought it was going swimmingly. And she gets up, goes over to the kitchen and is washing her hands. And she turns around and she's got a revolver in her hand. And she said, I don't believe you're who you say you are. I want you out of my house. And I said, no problem. Started walking to the door, backing to the door. And she said, hold it. You leave your business card and your driver's license on the table. Yes, ma'am.
There it is.
And so, again, 2 days later, she called. She said, well, I checked you out. Turns out you do work there. Why don't you come on out here? I'll sign your lease. I said, ma'am, if it's all the same, I'd like to know what your favorite restaurant is and what hopefully is the most public place imaginable. We can go get this lease signed. We did get it signed.
Doing it in public.
Yeah, we're doing it. I'm going to have, a deputy sitting next to us, but you never know. She ended up being a great landowner. We had a mineral owner, she actually owned surface and a royalty on it. So it ended up being a great relationship, but it was, those are the first two times, and both occurred in the Appalachian Basin. The first two gun interactions were up there. So
that is definitely that screaming Charleston, West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was south of Beckley.
Okay.
West Virginia.
Okay.
She was anyway. The first guy was in Kentucky.
That's where my kin is from.
Is it really?
Yeah. I always knew you were good people.
Yeah. So, are you familiar with Ghent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So my grandfather lives. His mailing address is actually Jumping Branch, but not too far from Ghent. There's a blacktop road that he lives off of. Owns 110 acres in the backwoods.
Wow. That's I don't think there's a stoplight. Is there? In Ghent?
Oh, I mean, no. I mean, Ghent is it's an interstate exit. Is really all that it is.
Yeah. We knew Pikeville was a big, thriving metropolis. It had, I think, 2 stoplights.
Have you seen the second one?
Yeah.
Stop here, but wait till you stop at the next one. It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he lives right on the border of Mercer County and Raleigh County.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
There was so much. I mean, in my time in Kentucky, so many great folks that worked with, for, and brokers that were contract guys that were on our crew. Salt of the earth people. We'd go out and just ride 4-wheelers and we just had a lot of fun. I was ready to get home. That's for sure. I don't think I would have met my wife there.
Look how this worked.
This
was fantastic.
That's right.
Did you, while you were there, trips down the Bourbon Trail and things like that?
Oh yes, we'd go over to Lexington quite a bit. Spent a lot of time at Keeneland.
Okay,
nice. And a little bit of Churchill Downs and Louisville, but I was over in Frankfurt a lot with the work we did when I was in Kentucky with the Kentucky Oil and Gas Association. They were, it was pretty young regulatory environment for Kentucky, and Equitable was doing a lot of drilling and development in their state, and they were trying to get up the curve, and so they had reps from a lot of the companies that were involved. They kind of had a surface mediation process. And your question, Jerris, about wearing your suit out to the field, this lawyer that was in charge of surface mediation, his name was Gene Atkinson. And he never went anywhere, including the field, without penny loafers and a bow tie.
Wow.
Let me tell you how that played. So that was always fun.
Wow, funny.
I have a technical question for you. When you were out in that region doing or taking oil and gas leases, were they paid up leases or did they have delay rentals?
They were always paid up.
Really? Okay.
Early on, when I was in Kentucky, that was the case. Now, my friend put me in Big Stone Gap. We had just stopped that.
Okay.
There was a lot of drafts and whatnot that went on before that. So I dealt with some of the aftermath of it, but when I started in Kentucky, it was all paid up. So
yeah, no, that's interesting. When I started working Marcellus activity in 2008, it was people were still trying to understand that concept between delay rentals and paid up leases. And for a while there was that transitionary period where it was, well, yes, I will take that bonus, but I still want my delay rental. You know?
Yeah, no, that's right. There was some cake and eat it too going on.
Your story that you have about how you became a landman through happenstance, really, that seems to happen with most people. And that this is something I've begun to realize over the last few months. And I think it has in large part due to these conversations that we get to have with people on a regular basis. We have yet to have a guest who has said, well, when I was 6 years old, I decided I wanted to be a landman and I was so excited about it, and I found the top school and went to it. Like that there's no kids going to career day and dressing up as landmen for it, right? Like that just doesn't happen. So question for the group, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
So I spent a lot of time, currently still spend a good bit of time on the OU Energy Management Board. Obviously, after my time on the XCOM, I was a trustee for the LST for a number of years, and now serve also on the advisory board for the TU Energy Management Program. And I tell those kids coming through those programs every year during scholarship interviews and interactions we have with both of them, the only ones, to your point, that came in for sure wanting to do this are legacies.
Yeah,
typically. I mean,
makes sense.
They've and not necessarily just landman legacies, but maybe in the business, right? Geology, engineer, whatever. Outside of that, it's either they were recruited by a student in the program, they heard the sermon from Buford or Mike McConnell, or one of the program directors around the country, or they, thought they wanted to be an engineer and realized, I was told there'd be no math. And decided, hey, the relationships are more important, and come over. That's probably a bad reason to be a landman. Told there would be no math, but anyway, they've got. I do think outside of the legacy, the family influence. Now, and we see that a lot in the scholarship interviews and internship discussions where there was a family member. Some of these kids, we've had a number of interns from TU over the years. I bet I've had 10 or so mentees, interns, part-time workers, and currently Daniel, you met today, full-time. He's our land administration coordinator, and he's TU Energy Management and got an MBA over there.
Fantastic.
That progression of commitment started with, in many cases, I had a family member in the business, right? Or, so that's the only way that, now probably what's going to happen, Jerris, is after Billy Bob's performance in 20 years, you're going to have, I saw this TV series years ago and I was so inspired by the show, The Landman. I wanted to become a landman.
We fully anticipate that, and our podcast listeners, of where they're like, I started listening whenever I was in 7th grade.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I came all the way up. I knew I must do this. I must do this to further this program.
I'm hoping there aren't too many 6-year-olds that are watching the TV show right now going,
Oh, that's
what I want to do when I grow
point.
up.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Sure, there's a censored version
I hope so.
someplace.
In my case, I did go through the OU program, and I had no idea what a landman was. I was through my first year of school and halfway through my first internship before I realized, oh, okay, so this is what it is. I think I kind of understand it, and this will work.
It's Liam Nielsen, right? You have to have a very special set of skills.
Yeah, I guess
Very
so.
true. Very true.
I'm still trying to figure what mine are.
Well, and honestly, you raise a good point. That is exactly one of the reasons why I'm so proud and love what I do. Every day is different. Every file is different. Every title picture, every well project, every pipeline project, every relationship. Even I spend a lot of time now on the fundraising side. Well, every one of those conversations and relationships is a different ball of wax. So I think Landman are the glue of the profession, right? Nothing. Murray Gerber was the CEO at Equitable when I was there, and when I came to Charleston after having been in Big Stone Gap and Pikeville for a few years, he came around. He was asking everybody, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And when he came into my office, I said, well, I'm just kind of curious. What's the feedback you've been getting about what your land department does? And he goes, honestly, I haven't exactly put my finger on it. But what I know is I know what an engineer does. I know what a geologist does. I know what the production guys do. And I know none of that actually happens unless you guys do what you do, whatever that is, right? So that's a really great answer. I mean,
It is a good answer.
With a glue. I mean, I think.
That's fantastic. Well, so I think that segues pretty naturally into where we're talking about the glue, and then we're talking about like your personality and being able to get out there, coming back home and being able to be closer to family and everything, and be here in Oklahoma or here in Tulsa, and just really fall in love with this community of over those last few years and as it progressed up. And then you and a few others had the idea to be able to start Command. And you knew the work that was going to go into it. You knew where your piece of the puzzle was to be able to be that glue to kind of hold this thing together, to be able to be a big part of the fundraising. Mammoth, I mean, huge undertaking for sure. But what was kind of the motivation for you guys, and how did that kind of come to pass?
So we had it started, as I mentioned earlier, kind of really with those relationships when I moved to Tulsa in 2006, and then when I went back to work at Crow Creek for Crow Creek 2, and became familiar with Michael's kind of geologic. I'm extremely impressed with how he sees subsurface. Obviously, Oklahoma is not an easy, particularly in the conventional game, not an easy place to do it. But and Jim Lawler, the third, Michael Evans, Jim Lawler, and myself, three founding partners at Command. Jim and I worked together at Crow Creek. Jim was our drilling manager, and I quickly realized what a man of character he was. I went to the field with him one day, and he saw a pipe truck come on location, and he got out, went over there, and grabbed the clipboard, and says something to the guy, and the guy drives off. He gets back in the car, and I said, "What was that about?" He goes, "Well, there were 4 more joints of pipe on that invoice than what was on his truck, so I sent him back to the yard to get them." I said, "Jim, you understand that there's not another engineer in this state, country, world that would do this. Is an accounting problem. Like they were going to fix this later." And he goes, "Yeah, that's not how I operate." So Jim's he's an incredible person. He's very much a man of character, incredible family. Michael and Jim worked together in 2 different iterations. Michael was probably Randy Fouch's third hire at Laredo, and they started Rimrock together. So we've had a lot of interaction. Jim and I working together, Michael and he working together, and me. I met Michael at NAPE after I realized who he was. He's in all of our decks at Crow Creek. And anyway, we just have known each other for a while. And then in 2019, all 3 of us kind of had we've all had a lot of private equity and public entity, experience. And most of our experience was here in Oklahoma. And we sat down together after a difficult private equity, a challenging experience probably, and said, what would we want to do as, till retirement, right? This is something it's not a flip shop. This is not something we want to build up and sell. This is something that we want to build long-term production and start making money for people that are here. Friends and family, in Oklahoma.
Hire here,
Hire
be
here,
able to provide long, sustainable careers for people.
Right.
Yeah.
drill wells in Oklahoma with largely Oklahoma subs.
Yeah.
We've got almost all of our subcontractors are Oklahoma guys, the rig hands, bud guys, it's the same guy. You know, almost everybody we use, they at least have a large Oklahoma presence, and have, you know, Jim started Marathon, and a lot of those relationships, a lot of those guys are not only our service providers, they're our investors.
Yeah.
And so we've which provides a great source for preferred pricing. You know, you get your timing is often spot on when your owners of your subcontractors are also investors in your drilling programs. So we're excited about kind of what we've built. It's a lean team. Everybody that works at Command has had a long working experience with one of the three of us, and it's an incredible culture and team. I would truly walk through fire for everybody there. It's a great group, and the kind of investor partner group that we've assembled since our first drilling program. And, you know, we were sitting there making this decision on April 1st-ish of 2020.
Great.
You know, a lot going on in the world.
A lot going on April 22nd. Great time to start a company.
Right? Yeah, let's do an energy company. This will be fun. We believed in it enough. And, you know, our first program, we put most of our money into, into it, and just kind of started with a small group, a 3-well program, and it grew over time. You know, now we're doing a 6-well program. We've gotten deeper. We've gotten increased seismic, you know, increased production, increased investor group size, increased budget for the program, and we'll be looking at doing some single unit horizontals.
Oh, okay.
In the coming years.
Because up until now, you've just done it's all been vertical. It's all been conventional. Okay.
Right.
And all MidCon? Is that right?
Yeah, everything in South Central Oklahoma. So everything's got to be in the Central Oklahoma oil platform.
Right? Okay.
So Love, Garvin, Cole, Potawatomi. We've got Carter. So anyway, it's everything's got to be, you know, our kind of parameters on our program is roughly 10,000 feet, average depth 10,000 feet or less. If vertical, average cost is $2.5 million or less. Must be in the Central Oklahoma oil platform. Must deliver a minimum of 75 net, and geographic limitation and NRI deliverable. It's kind of can't get outside this box, right?
I gotcha. And this is your area of expertise.
Right.
Like this is what you guys have not only cut your teeth on, but this is what you've been able to see great success on. And so starting with that, and then you said adding on potentially horizontal here in the future.
I think our programs to date have been very ROI driven.
Right.
These are 4 to 6% decline over 30-year type wells, and that's great. And most of our investors are doing this because they're either doing it for their retirement or their kids' college, maybe. Or they're doing it in a trust for their next generation. There's certainly an interest in hedging for a little bit of rate of return, right? And so I think doing some single unit horizontals is something that we've frankly worked up, done a lot of it in lives past, and have spent some time over the last couple of years working on some horizontal prospects that we think can be very successful. So we're excited to bring one into the next program. And I love it.
I definitely love it. I always liked whenever I knew you guys. I mean, I guess right after 2020 and whenever things started getting rolling again and everything, I like seeing the Command name start coming out a little bit more. And now, if you guys are headed to NAPE or anything like that, you're seeing Command on a lot more. I think like a lunchtime sponsor the last couple of years,
right.
And so it's really fun to see, especially companies that we're so familiar with, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, kind of the local, just being able to get on that huge national stage, and that provides you guys with the opportunity to find more investors and really good opportunity.
I would be remiss in not saying one of the largest drivers for starting Command was to keep the talent pool and the ripples of what we do. You think about what we do, and you guys know this better than anybody, but the touch points of a small operator are enormous. I mean, the title attorneys and the brokers and the photographers and not to mention the drilling operation. I mean, there's the seismic guys. It's the tentacles of what we do add to our economy. And I have in my career, I have been approached, I think 5 times about moving to Dallas or Austin or Houston. I grew up in Dallas. I got to tell you, Tulsa stole my heart. I love Tulsa very much. My met my wife here. My parents have moved back here. Her parents moved back here. Her siblings are here. I'm involved in numerous boards, and we've laid our roots down in this town. And I wouldn't trade for Tulsa. And so
That's fantastic.
we wanted to do it here.
That is absolutely fantastic. I love to see those connections, and what you guys have done for Tulsa in these last few years have been fantastic.
Wow.
You mentioned the assets that command looks for and the type of things that you drill. Do you guys welcome people bringing you deals? Is that something you want to plug, that if they fit those parameters that you talked about, they should reach out to you and pitch what they got?
You bet. I mean, we've looked at a number of things, and we do have there's also a PDP acquisition entity. So we've done 2 different PDP acquisitions, and everybody who's an owner, that's a K1 ownership group, that started off as an investor, in the drilling program. We've done a couple acquisitions, and one was oil, one was gas, and they're both small, and they both service the drilling program, right? It was kind of these were acquisitions we made that we later drilled wells in, something that Michael had prospected. So it's absolutely would look at that. I will say we have drilled one prospect that Michael didn't initiate. So we don't do it a lot, but it definitely want to look at that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of geologic talent in Oklahoma, right? And so those are definitely conversations we want to have. You bet.
Well, this has been really eye-opening and really educational for me. Jerris, I completely agree. I think we do have the Tulsa King here with us, so it's exciting to see where this is going. Hamel, any last kind of parting words of advice for anybody just getting into the business now? We've seen. I know you're an advocate for these different programs. I definitely have been as well. That's been one of the passionate things for me with Oklahoma City University, of trying to grow that energy management program. Anything that you would tell somebody that's just kind of starting out in the business and wanting to make this a career?
Most of our investors are in Oklahoma. We've got a few in Texas and around. And the conversations I have with a lot of those guys that are small business owners and not in the energy space is very similar to what the conversations I have with guys coming into the programs at OU and TU. And it's a lot about, what we do, how we do it. There's a lot of half truths out there about what we do. And I think I would encourage, in today's world of over politicized 24-hour cable news, and fact check, get out there, source your opinions thoroughly, and don't necessarily listen to the first thing you hear. Every company I've worked with, every company that I've worked for or with, frankly, has been extremely environment forward, right? We've gone out of our way in almost every instance to over reclaim or over clean or over, and I think there's imagery out there that, these oil and gas companies are raping and pillaging, and that is just not my experience. I oftentimes we have landowners who are like, yes, that's good. It's better than you found it.
Right.
So I think that's a narrative that sometimes is lost about what we provide. Then I don't mean command. I mean just as an industry, as a profession,
for sure,
what we are providing for the world. So
I always like that when we would go to Charleston with Chesapeake, but fracking being such a big and controversial term even. But I remember that they had an actual deal of casing, and they were showing the casing, the cement, the interior casing, the cement, and all the way down, and showing how much care went into each one of these wells, and saying, we're not doing this for any malicious intent or doing this as fast as we can, just ripping these things through. We want to take care of the area. And I think that's one of the things that I hope maybe even the Landman show, I hope that they focus on a little bit. That would be a good public service announcement, I believe. Well, Jerris, any parting words from you in Colorado Springs? Is there anything that we need to know before we go into kind of the second half of 2025 here?
Thanks so much, Hamel, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure having you. and really appreciate your words of wisdom about the industry and all the great outreach and work that you do for not only the community of Tulsa and the state of Oklahoma, but also for the folks in the profession and in the industry. Drew hasn't gone through your accolades yet, but we need to hit your award-winning career that you've had really quick before we buzz out of here, because they've been well deserved.
It's before we get into all that nonsense, I want to share with you guys. First of all, I have some Command Energy hats, swag for you.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna
wear those with pride.
I'm sure. I'm gonna leave Jerris yours with your co-host here. So if in about 30 days, if you haven't seen it, let me know.
It took me 6 months to get even a Real Deal Landman hat from this guy. So I don't know. Wait, I may give him this. I may not. We'll see.
Yeah, I get it.
We'll see.
Well, what you guys are doing here, I think, is extremely cool. You've got I think you're developing a fantastic following, and talking about real issues. And Jerris, you kind of hit on it at first. The relationships of what we do is really incredible, and you guys are capturing that. And so I just really want to encourage y'all to. I know there's a lot of work. I sat here and watched this guy, getting everything set up. It's incredible, how you guys are doing this and as mobile as you're able to be. So kudos to y'all.
We want to make sure that we put our best foot forward whenever we're talking to people like yourself, of if we're able to capture even a little bit of the essence of what it is to be a landman or to be a leader in this industry that we all just care about so much. We want to put in the time and effort to make sure that we're doing that the right way. We will get in on, to try to get the extra views. Obviously Jerris starts going down these political rants and really gets pretty vulgar and vain on some of them. But I mean, that's just for the hits.
Sure, right,
obviously, but like I try to keep us grounded. Right. I try to keep the industry first. But I really do. I appreciate your kind words. I appreciate, everything you've done for the industry. And please tell me whenever I need to say there's something else. But face of the industry for AAPL in 2023, Landman of the Year in 20.
That was 18, I believe.
2018. Okay. Yeah, and this just is one of those things where I little jealousy comes to head, because I've got Landman of the Year sitting beside me. I got Landman of the Year currently sitting right in front of me. Like they will never let me have this award. 100% they'll never, because they'll always be like, he lets his membership lapse on a year by year basis. And I have to get that mean email from somebody of saying, are you still doing this? Like, yeah, I am.
Drew, unfortunately for you, it's a beauty contest. So
I got no shot. I've got no shot at this. Oh, my pony's lagging behind. I'm telling you. Well,
I'm sure that Jerris felt the same way when particularly the Landman of the Year award. But I felt like it was really rare. I remember looking at the list of previous winners of that award, thinking, I don't deserve to be on this list. There's a lot of incredible people in our industry, in our association. I mean, I know you guys probably feel the same way that AAPL does such an incredible job.
They do.
Advocating for industry and fighting at the lobbying level, at the political level, at the surface level, at the mineral and royalty owner level, and fostering to the extent they can, those professional relationships, not just at the national level, but in each of the locals.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic organization that doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. But
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. They do a fantastic job. The educational programs that they have, the time and effort that I know that the staff there puts in on doing like the annual meetings, everything that goes into all of those different conventions that are put on, but they're really doing it for the betterment of the whole industry. And I always feel that kind of eager anticipation right at the first of the year of, I know I get to go see a lot of good friends at NAPE.
Right.
And it's an absolute blessing to be a part of.
You're here. Well, they had recent exceptional leadership, right, Jerris?
We do what we can.
I'm just ready to stop playing second fiddle to Jerris. I mean, for the rest of this year, I can handle it. Maybe another 6 months and that's it. But come the end of this year, whenever people are like, oh, so you're on that Landman show and you've got the Landman of the Year, Jerris Johnson, sitting next to you. Like, finally, I'll be like, oh, he's old news. That's last year's. We're throwing that laundry out. Now, I'm proud to be sitting here between both of you guys. You've represented it. If it is rare air, it is exceptionally. You guys add to that considerably. I'm happy to be associated for sure. But I'll say, just kind of to wrap it up, this has been a really encouraging episode as always. We're so thankful for everybody that watches. We're so thankful for the sponsors that I know. We've got Roland AI, fantastic land AI that you need to check out. Novus Consulting. I always say they butter my bread, and they are amazing energy consultants. We've got Scramble, which is a CRM tool and a project management tool that you definitely need to check out. And then Anchored Innovations is another one. Still, I don't know what the hell they do, but I'm proud to represent them here. So we're happy for all of that. For Jerris Johnson, for Drew Hopkins, for Durant, Oklahoma, and for the Tulsa King, Hamel Reinmiller, thank you for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.